the one, the only real estate rock star, J. Scott Shield. Now, you may have seen Scott on Fox Business Channel. He's a frequent contributor to Stuart Varney's program. He shows off his expertise in global finance and investing for the world to see. He's a star real estate developer, serial entrepreneur. He's even a feature film producer. And Scott is super successful, and it is his passion to inspire others to achieve their dreams and impact communities. And so Scott's got a special event in Dallas in a few weeks he's going to be telling us about, as well as a really cool ebook that can help you with real estate investing. So Scott, it's an honor to have you back, man. Welcome. It's an absolute honor.
Dr. Steve, it is a pleasure to be here with you and your audience. Thanks so much for inviting me back. We always love when we get the opportunity, to sit and kind of riff on everything that's going on in the world around us today. Plus, I got to tell you how much I love your audience.
Oh, man. Oh, they're right back at you. They love you, man. There was a Business Insider piece just a few days back on real estate, the real estate trends of houses being sold for millions of dollars more than the asking price. They featured one fellow who got, I think, 100 offers in one day for his residence. And one of the big concerns, obviously, now that you have some companies that are coming in and gobbling up a lot of this real estate, is whether or not they're starting to box out the low income buyer from the real estate market. Can you address that a little bit for us?
Yeah, so it's there's a lot of people out there right now that are doing builds for rents, right? They're not even building them and selling them. They're building single family homes for rent. And what you're seeing is the cost of the disruption of the supply chain and the cost of raw materials, and whether it's lumber, whether it's steel, whether it's copper. That was a temporary spike. We're starting to see those numbers start to ratchet down a little bit because there's been a diminishment in new permits being pulled. And most folks who are looking to deal with new construction today are taking a look at it's 24 months before their unit's going to be delivered to them if they can even get in queue. Wow. So there is that disruption, there's pent up demand because there is such low supply. Right. And I think what you're seeing is people, myself, you may be considering as well, it's like, wow, the numbers are so crazy. Maybe we'd even list our place and go rent for a while, right? Right. We do something like that. You hear that every single day. But the reality of that, I think, is the same thing that's occurred in previous cycles. The reason why that is able to happen is because of the loose monetary policy, right? When banks are still willing to lend to people, even though they know that there's disruption in the economy, there's disruption in unemployment, there is inflation on the horizon, but they're still loaning in the 2s and the 3% interest rates. Mm-hmm. Well, then people are just buying like crazy and they're causing this froth in the marketplace. But when inflation kicks in and interest rates start to rise, those prices are unsustainable because the employment market won't support the income necessary to make that buy. Right. Today, interest rates are so low, you can afford to overpay because your tax return allows you to get the loan. Right. When the loose monetary policy closes down, property values come down, the newly permitted stuff that is coming out that people overpaid for, certainly again, the moratorium on the judicial process, because a lot of people are in default on their mortgages right now. And if somebody in your neighborhood has let's say a $500,000 home and they go into default and, it goes to the courthouse steps, if it sells for $100,000 less, everybody just lost value. Right. And when interest rates go up, people aren't as excited because their debt to income ratios are no longer in balance to get the approval to buy the home for $100,000 more than asking price. Those are things that will shake themselves out in the relatively near term. So I think 12 to 18 months from now, you're going to see a lot of it. But the folks who are looking to get into the residential markets, they're going to revert back to what we call some of the old school acquisition strategies of pre-foreclosure and bankruptcy defense and wraparound mortgages. Because when interest rates go to 6 and 7%, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to not replace the 2 or 3% defaulted loan. You're going to want to reinstate it and service the 3% loan because it's 60% less than the new 7% debt, which if you look historically, 7% is the number for residential real estate over the last 50 years. That's what you pay for a mortgage, not 2 or 3%. So those things I think will shake themselves out. And if I can just say one more thing, I know this is maybe a little off topic, and I don't mean to drive the agenda, but when we talk about opportunity that's coming, the legislative changes related to the tax code are major stimulators for folks to be able to get into fixed asset income based property or commercial real estate, right? See, what's happened is so many folks have been playing one set of rules in the game for the last 50 years, where you're able to shelter your gains through a couple of well-heeled, well-vetted tax strategies. And those are coming off the board now, right? The capital gains tax is likely to change. That's almost a certainty.
Right.
The depreciation is likely to change. So what you deal with is a lot of investors who are in the final stage of career now have to find a way to sell. And if I, let's say, bought a property 20 years ago for $1 million, and I go to sell it today for 4 million, and that is a real number. That's a real arc that happens commonly. In fact, many cases, it's much higher than that. If I bought it for $1 million 20 years ago and I go to sell it for $4 million today, my capital gains rate, not even counting my depreciation recapture, means I'm going to pay 60 to 70% tax on that money.
Wow.
That doesn't feel good. And more than that, if I feel like I can't plan for my estate and I'm going to have this major whack on my death tax, now things are getting even wonkier.
Yeah.
So the motivation and the way to, let's say, avoid that massive penalty that you shouldn't have had to do, but they changed the laws at the wrong time for you, is to do an installment sale. Now, an installment sale means, well, look, of course I'll sell, you my property, but I don't want all the cash today. So I'll sell it to you for $4 million, put 10% up because I can shelter that $400,000 gain today. And then next year you can give me $100,000. And the year after that, you can give me $100,000. And when I like that tax code, then we can exit. But I'm going to carry that paper and I'm going to get a 5% interest on giving you this private loan rather than you needing to go to a bank.
Wow.
And so instead
nice.
of paying 0.25% interest rate from getting that from the bank, I get 1,000% more.
Right.
And instead of paying this massive tax where I'm left holding 40% and trying to earn no interest, I get to keep all of my principal intact and get a higher interest rate. So it's a win-win for folks at that stage. And that's one of those old school strategies that hasn't really been relevant in a speeding market with easy bank monetary policy. But in what's coming, it is absolutely the way, and candidly, it's the better way for folks to get in.
Wow. A double W, a double win. I love it. Absolutely love it. Gang, you're already seeing it. Scott is a teacher. He's an instructor. He's a mentor. And Scott, I mean, you are, in addition to being a super successful real estate entrepreneur, you are a mentor for up and coming real estate moguls.
Yes, sir.
And you have an ebook actually that people can read to get them acquainted and get started with commercial real estate. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's a great introduction to commercial real estate. It's called Bigger is Better. It's a free ebook for anybody who's listening. Just click on the link and it'll take you to the landing page. Really, all we ask you to do is you sign up and you give us your contact information so that there's total transparency. So that if you have questions, we can be there to support you and we know what it's related to. But it really walks them through an introduction to commercial real estate and why it is, the long-standing, top-tier investment grade asset that it is, and why so many people have built wealth and been able to insulate themselves against market disruption and, market collapse and currency fluctuations and inflation. It's one of the very best assets for that. And the key here for everybody to understand is that we not only introduce you to it, but then we walk you through the 7 steps that everyone must take in order to profit from these types of investments. And it's really customizable for you. You can start anywhere you want in your own backyard, where you want to retire. If you're thinking about moving, all of those considerations are covered. And we show you how they're valued. And we break down some of the, let's call it more confusing terms and lingo that people use to mystify and keep you out of the game. We break them down into layman's terms that anybody can do it. You know, Steve, again, not to talk about myself, but I'm a high school educated guy from Cleveland, Ohio.
I was just thinking that. I was going to actually ask you to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. So, not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I don't have a, a Wharton, finance, degree. It's a real basic principle, and it shows people exactly how to do it. And it helps them understand what might work well for them based upon their risk tolerance, their comfort zone, and the current state of their finances. Whether they've got good credit or bad credit, you're not barred from this industry. Whether you have experience or no experience, you're not barred from this industry. Whether you have a portfolio or don't, you're not barred from this industry. And whether you have capital to invest or not, you're not barred from this industry. Obviously, if you have great capital and you have excellent credit and you've got decades of experience, of course, you've got a head start.
Sure.
But if you don't have those things, just know when I got started, I was in, serious debt. My credit score was in trouble because of a failed business venture. I didn't have any experience and I didn't own any assets and I didn't have any cash to invest. And, within 12 months, I went out and generated well over a multi-million-dollar net worth. I had excellent cash flow that allowed me to replace my income. And only then, when you've got that income established, would I encourage anybody to ever consider leaving their job or making this massive life shift. You can do this part-time, a couple hours a week. Now, doing it that way might take them 6 months or 12 months before they find something that they really like, and that's fine. Because there's never a bad time to go ahead and get a $5,000 to $10,000 a month additional cash flow. And there's certainly never a time that doesn't feel good to cash a $500,000 or a multi-million-dollar check.
Oh, wow. That's great. And everyone who's interested, you're going to be able to just simply click on the link below to get this ebook, Bigger is Better. You're going to absolutely love it. And you've got also a live event, I understand, coming up in Dallas in August in a few weeks. People can see you live. Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's I appreciate you mentioning that. Look, and I think what I would say to a lot of folks is check out the ebook and see if that resonates with you. And if it does, and you're curious about it, we've got this amazing event that we put on. Again, I know it sounds self-aggrandizing, but it's not really even me. It's myself, and it's so many spectacular, real-world people who are actually doing this that you get to meet from all over the country, from every walk of life, every race, every religion, every background. Incredibly successful men and women from age probably 20 all the way up to about 80 who are doing this. So you're going to find somebody in that arena that is going to truly help you identify that, look, if they can do it, I can do this as well. This is sustainable stuff, right? And you can do it on your terms, on your time. It's coming up in Dallas, August 26th through the 28th. These events do sell out. They're unbelievable content, and we put together a fantastic offer for your group. But again, what I would encourage people is, if you're curious about this, check out Bigger is Better, free ebook. Click that link, and you've got a couple of weeks before you have to make a commitment to getting to Dallas. But I can promise you, it's an unbelievable event. You're there in the room with myself, my key coaches, people who are really doing it. There's folks who are bringing real deals there. You're able to form capital for your own investments. You're able to see real world case studies of deals that are actually going on right now. And you see people from, Seattle to Miami, from, Maine down to San Diego, and literally hundreds of points in between at every event. So, it's that immersion, it's that validation. And then it's also, passes the sniff test, because you're able to rub elbows with real people who are really doing it and ask them the tough questions. And if at the end of that, you're not satisfied, there's a complete money back guarantee, 100% money back guarantee. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about that. Again, August 26th, 27th, 28th in Dallas, an amazing opportunity and a program that's really better than anything we've made available to anybody else, for your folks and your platform, mostly because we so believe in what you're doing, and anything we can do to support you, sir, it's an honor and a privilege.
Oh my, right back at you. And gang, you got to know, one of the hottest books out there in the business world right now is called Who Not How. And the whole thesis of it is stop trying to figure it out on your own. Stop trying to figure out the hows. Just go to the who's, find a mentor, do what we've been doing for 2,500 years. You want to embrace the apprentice model and find a master who can walk you through this, a mentor. And man, this is a chance of a lifetime to sit at the feet of someone like Scott Shiel and get mentored by a super successful real estate entrepreneur, August 26th to 28th in Dallas. And for those of you who are looking to be, financially independent and weather this coming storm here of inflation, this is the beginning of the rest of your life. So click on that link below right now and begin that journey. So Scott, thank you so much for taking out some time to talk to us today. It was amazing.
Thank you. It's always an honor to be able to be here to speak to your audience. Thank you for sharing them with me. It's truly humbling. God bless you, sir. God bless the United States of America. Anytime you want me to share with your group, you just send up the bat signal and I'm on it.
Oh man, that means a ton, Scott. Thank you so much. God bless.
Peace, everybody. Thanks. God bless. Talk to you soon.